Hello and welcome to week number 2 of the WGL APAC Season 1. My name is Jordan Mays. Joining me is Alex Blakey as usual, and we're heading into our second day of the broadcast for this week. Day number 1 yesterday was a fantastic day.
Pretty good one indeed. Look,
it had some ups and downs, let's be real.
Ups and downs. It's the best way to describe yesterday. Obviously, we had a couple of 5-0s. One 5-0, unfortunately, was from Team Epic Gear Profit, who couldn't quite manage to kind of get everything ready in time, and had a few connection issues, I think was their main issue. But I tell you what, some of the matches that we did see played out yesterday, Jordan, were absolute crackers.
Yeah, they certainly were. I mean, I'm really looking forward to seeing what's going to come up today, of course. So yesterday was some good games. Today we're hoping to see a few more good games. Of course, we've got EL coming up later today.
Yep.
That's going to be a bit of a cracker, and plenty of good games coming up today, I'm sure.
Exactly. And first up, of course, we've got B Gaming. They're going to be taking on the Koreans, Meltdown, one of our 4 Korean teams, and that should be quite a close match. I feel Meltdown, they're sitting kind of round about the kind of middle of the ladder, heading looking to move up a little bit.
Yep.
B Gaming, very solid team. Much like Karen Tiger as well, they're sort of their sister team, if you will. So it should be quite a close match for everyone first off.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, both teams performed reasonably similarly last week. And heading into this week, obviously, we're going to get a bit more of an indication as to how they're going to go throughout our tournament. But, of course, we do have our schedule coming up here for yesterday. So this is what happened yesterday, and we obviously saw those 2 5-0s that you mentioned, one of them of which was that disconnection forfeit. But really, the one I guess we want to talk about, Alex, is that Karen Tiger and Gold Bass.
Karen Tiger and Gold Bass was absolutely fantastic. Look, we picked it before. Coming into that last match yesterday, Gold Bass, they were 0-3.
Yep.
Right? They were sitting at the bottom of the score, but they needed to, they'd only won one, I think, map at all in the previous week, so they needed to get something. One round. They needed to get something on the board. That's exactly what they did. They took it right down to the wire and almost took it out in the tiebreaker win, but Karen Tiger just proving a little bit too strong in the end. Yeah,
look, I certainly wouldn't have expected them to come up with a performance like that. After their previous performances throughout last week and the previous couple of days throughout this week, they were certainly looking quite shaky, as you mentioned, 0-3. So for them to come back there and actually pick up 4 rounds against Karen Tiger was quite impressive. Unfortunate for them not to be able to close it out there, because they would have been looking to get those 2 points, get themselves with at least 1 win on the board. Unfortunately, not able to do that, and they did at least walk away with that 1 point because of the tiebreaker system.
Yeah, they did. So now they're equal bottom of the ladder, I do believe, with Twist, I recall. So yeah, Twist and B Gaming kind of battling it out for the wooden spoon at the moment. And I think today, obviously, we have the Twist match. They're taking on the Coalition Zoo. That should be an interesting one. I feel like as well, the Coalition, they've looked pretty good so far. They're obviously our favourite team for the E100s. So I'm looking forward to that one as well. Yeah,
certainly looking forward to that one too. I mean, they performed pretty well yesterday, and obviously looking forward to them today. But let's have a look at our standings here. As we've, of course, all aware, I think EL Gaming sitting up the top there, but really the ones we want to look at here, B Gaming sitting in 3rd place. They're playing up against Meltdown coming up here, who are in 8th.
Yeah, there we go. So Meltdown in 8th, I don't really think that reflects them too well as a team, because obviously they've got, 1 win so far, 1 tiebreaker win and 1 loss. And I reckon by the end of today, they could be moving up a little bit, Jordan, because my bet for this one, I think it's going to be a Meltdown win.
Okay.
Let's go 5-3.
Interesting.
5-3 to Meltdown.
I feel a bit of the opposite way, I suppose. I think B Gaming are maybe a little bit stronger here than Meltdown, but I'm just basing that off the statistics here that I've been looking at. But I think Meltdown went up against EL Gaming last week, so that might be skewing their results just a little bit. Let's have a look and see what's coming up later on today. Of course, we mentioned that B Gaming and Meltdown matchup initially here, but a couple of other really nice matchups coming up.
Yeah, definitely. Looking forward to the Twist and TCZ matchup, and of course, we can never not look forward to run and team efficiency, because TE, I always like to see them play one of our more aggressive teams. They've got a few Aussies in the mix as well. So
and they had a good performance yesterday as well. So.
Yeah, they did. They did do quite well yesterday, and I think with any luck they should be able to take Outrun and kind of move a little bit higher up on the ladder. Currently, they're sitting at 10th.
Yeah, and obviously EL Gaming and Dark Wolves, that's something that we can
Well,
not
it
ignore.
speaks for itself there.
Yeah.
I think EL Gaming and Dark Wolves are top of the table clash.
Exactly.
China's best and Korea's best teams facing off. Should be good.
It should be good. I mean, I certainly expect EL Gaming shouldn't have too many issues there. However, this is probably going to be the strongest opponent that they've actually come up against so far.
Exactly.
Anyway, looks like we are getting underway with our first matchup here. It is going to be B Gaming, of course. We've talked about them a little bit already. Ladder position number 3, so they're putting themselves in a good position so far, and they'll want to convert that in, at least in this matchup.
Yeah, definitely. B Gaming, look, they're a very solid all-round team, and their logo there, like we can see, says Entertainment Tankers, and they always put on a show worthwhile of watching. You can take your notepad out whenever you're watching B Gaming. You can make some notes because these guys, they are sharp. And, great communication throughout their team. They've got all the current strategies. They know how to play the game.
Yeah, interesting thing to note about B Gaming is that they're a little bit more of an attacking-sided team, similar to what we talked about yesterday with Horsemen, where they do favour that attacking side. They have an about 86% win rate throughout the last week on the attacking side. On the defending side, about 38% win rate. So there's a bit of a difference there in the weightings.
Yep.
I would expect perhaps to see B Gaming just a little bit more comfortable on their attacking sides.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if we actually get that statistic kind of carrying through to their match today, I guess. So, I'll be looking forward to seeing that.
Certainly will. I mean, on the other hand, Meltdown, they're a little bit more of an evenly spread lineup. Still favouring the attacking side a little bit, but that's the lineup there for you.
There we go, and I love some of the names here as well. We've got Waffentrager of Panzer IV as one of their in-game names, and I think got SP up the top there as well. He's a tanker to look out for, I think, and obviously our Korean team, one of our 4 Korean teams, so they've got the Meltdown logo. I mean, it's hard to not root for Meltdown when they've got such an amazing looking logo, I think, Jordan.
I think something to note about Waffentrager Alf PZ4. I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, he used to be called KV5, so I think he's just sort of like dipping his hand into the hat of tank names and just pulling out one like, I'm going to be called this season. So
yeah, there you go. Yeah. Well, good on him, I guess. So, we've had some pretty interesting tankers' names this season. So far, I know we've got iPad and Red Bull, a Waffentrager of Panzer IV as well. Yep. So it's quite a mixed bag, if you will.
Yeah, it certainly is. I mean, I guess we'll have to wait and see now how B Gaming and Meltdown do. I mean, you mentioned you thought Meltdown was going to pick this one up 5-3.
5-3.
I'm probably going to lean the other way. B Gaming, I think it's going to be closer. I'm going to go 5-4.
5-4. Okay. Well, yeah, I can see why you'd go with that, I think, Jordan. So 5-4, we'll roll with it. But guys, let us know what you think on Twitters, even in the chat below. Use the hashtag WGL APAC if you're doing the tweets about us as well. And who knows, might even throw you a retweet, favourite, all that good stuff. But for now, I think, Jordan, we need to take a look at why we think these teams are going to be going to such a close matchup.
Yeah, I certainly do. Well, we'll have first a look at the tank lineups for our first matchup, which is going to be Ghost Town.
Ghost Town.
Anything of note here? Not particularly anything too
liking
crazy.
Those E100s over on the B Gaming side there. They've got 2 of those ones. That kind of German Tier 10 super heavy tank. The FV215B is super good at kind of a drawn-out brawl. Both teams picking them up, and we've got another IS-4, so we're seeing the IS-4s. Oh, and actually that's an interesting little tank. I'm just looking right down the bottom. So Meltdown are actually going a little bit old school here. They've picked up the IS-3.
Hey, I'm a big fan of the IS-3.
It's hard to go wrong with the IS-3, to be honest, and I'll be very interested to see how Meltdown actually do with that. I mean, the IS-3 can't really stack up against, most of those Tier 10 tanks. The armor isn't really going to be, doing too much.
I say
against
I'm a big fan of the IS-3, and that is when I'm in the IS-3 and I'm top tier tank in a Tier 8 game.
Exactly.
Not when I'm bottom tier tank in a Tier 10 game. So I'm a little interested to see, as you mentioned, how that's going to turn out for them here in this Tier 10 oriented lineup. I don't know how well that's going to go. I mean, it's going to have a bit of trouble getting through those E100s for sure.
Yeah, definitely. definitely. And maybe the AMX 1390, it might be able to ricochet a few shots if the AMX is at the front of it. But apart from that, really, I suppose it's a little bit of an HP buffer as well, 1500 HP.
Yeah, so. I mean, it might just be there, I guess, in theory, to soak up a bit of damage for the other tier 10s. That could be the thought process behind it, but I guess we'll have to see how that one turns out, because it does look like we are heading into the game here. And Meltdown, of course, going to be on that defensive side first. B-Gaming going to be starting us off on the attack.
Okay, so let's take a look at where these guys are heading out to. You can see Meltdown, from the looks of things, are actually pushing towards the centre of the town, and they aren't pushing with all of their players, so that probably means that we're going to be seeing a kind of hold here rather than an early rush from the Meltdown defenders. But on the other side, B-Gaming looking to do a standard one flag play and potentially get one of their lighter tanks on towards that one flag to start the cap up, or maybe even their IS-4 with its nice strong turret armour, and start to put some early pressure on Meltdown.
Yeah, look, across the board, nothing too crazy going on here at the moment. B-Gaming just setting up in reasonably standard positions. Meltdown as well, not doing anything too crazy. So for the moment, it's a relatively standard start for both teams. B-Gaming getting onto that cap relatively early now. You can actually start to see them moving a few of their heavies over there as well. So now things start to change up here. Samo has taken a little bit of damage in the meanwhile there, but B-Gaming getting that cap started very quickly. Look at the aggression coming out from them.
Ooh, and I'm just taking a look down at Meltdown. They've got SP and Pang Pang. They're two Batchat 25Ts moving around to make the flank on towards B-Gaming. If they get on the sides of these heavy tanks, that is going to mean a lot of trouble. If they, with full HP Batchats with a full clip of shells.
Yeah, well, they're going to have to be quick about it. There's only 6 seconds left on the clock here. I would not be surprised to see Meltdown resetting this one. Actually, Utori moving off the cap there resets it for B-Gaming, and they are starting to take a few shots. Now it looks like that is going to be the go signal, but it's allowed enough time here for the Meltdown Batchats to come around behind. This is not looking too good at all for B-Gaming. They lose the first tank. Vicetone taking down Samo. They are going to be able to get a bit of damage across to Parthen there, but Tiltil Matil has gone down in the meanwhile, and it's looking like B-Gaming are in all sorts of trouble here, Alex.
Oh, B-Gaming not looking too good. That flank from those two Meltdown Batchats just working so well against them. And now we can see the IS-3 of Meltdown in a little bit of trouble himself. B-Gaming, they're going to be trying to get some tanks off the board themselves.
Yeah, the IS-3 actually hasn't taken a whole lot of damage just yet, and he's right in the middle of all of these heavy tanks from B-Gaming. It does seem like they're gunning it straight towards the FV215B of Vicetone, which makes sense. The E100 here should be able to close it out once he's reloaded, and there he goes. All down to really just that IS-3 and a couple of other tanks here for the guys on Meltdown. Should be a relatively easy cleanup. B-Gaming only have a couple of tanks left.
Yeah, there's not too much that one E100 will be able to do against all of these tanks. And overall, look, Meltdown, I really like that flank that those two Batchats got SP and Pang Pang moved in on. And with Taki, I think Taki's just reloading at the moment in his Batchat, and T4 in that E100. Look, he's giving it a good crack, but not quite going to be enough.
Yeah, a really interesting result there coming out early on. I mean, we did see B-Gaming having that player down towards the south of the map, just spotting out in case there was a rotation, but as soon as they moved onto the cap circle, that player rejoined the forces, and as a result there was no spots towards the southern end of the map, and Meltdown was able to rotate across. So that's going to be a good start there for Meltdown, 1-0 after the first round. A
very good start for Meltdown, and it was just a little bit confusing why we saw B-Gaming actually move off the cap there, because I think the cap got down to about 5 seconds, but the FV215B just moved off, and it wasn't actually a hard reset, if I recall correctly. It just edged off the cap a little bit and actually got back on right after that. So really, 5 seconds left. Would those Batchats have been like there? They probably would have, but you never really know. They might have missed a shot. Bit of RNG could have come into the mix. So potentially a little bit of a slight misplay by B-Gaming, but overall just excellent execution from the guys on Meltdown. And I think B-Gaming definitely need to look out a little bit more, and they didn't spot the two Batchats earlier on. So when you don't spot two Batchats on Ghost Town, right, you're going to know that they're going to be trying to come around and flank you. That's just Ghost Town 101. There's so many options for flanking, and I think maybe B Gaming just got a little bit too focused on the cap that was getting nice and close, or too focused on the brawl that was starting in the town to kind of remember, oh, wait a minute, these guys have two angry Tier 10 French medium tanks with a clip full of shells coming up right behind us.
Yeah, it certainly was some interesting stuff coming out there from B Gaming. It looked like they were going to be in a reasonable position to actually close that one out after they got onto that cap. They got that timer down really, really low. They had to, essentially, they forced Meltdown, rather, to actually come at them. But in the end, things just didn't go their way.
Just didn't go their way, unfortunately. But I think Meltdown, well, they're going to have to prove that they've got it on the attack as well as the defense now by switching over, of course. For those that don't know, might be a little bit newer to our Tier 10 esports format. Of course, these teams play one round on each map, swap sides, attack and defense, one aside, and that's how we work out the points.
You know what I'm really interested to see here, Alex, is how that IS-3 went there for the guys on Meltdown.
I think it did pretty well.
Well, you say that. I don't know if it did anything really. Like, I don't necessarily think it did much damage, but it was just there being a bit of a pain. Really.
Yeah, exactly. Being like a big sort of brick. I did actually, I'm pretty sure I saw it ricochet one shell as well.
Yeah, I think so.
So our stats don't have that in it, but even if it ricocheted, one shell, that's more than any AMX 1390 would be able to. So yeah, there we go. Actually, 1292 damage. So the IS-3 ended up dealing more damage than the IS-4 in the end, more damage than Parthen. And FA215B, two of those, or three of those even, and an E100, so you can't complain about that. And obviously, yes, quite a bit of it is to do with the fact that the IS-3 is not going to be the primary target of B Gaming, but, I think you can safely say that the pick worked out for them.
I think you can, I agree that it did work out for them, but I also think it was kind of irrelevant. They were going to win that match anyway.
It didn't win the game for them, that IS-3 pick for sure. So.
Alrighty, looks like we're going to be getting very shortly underway with our match number 2. So let's go ahead and have a look and see whether we're going to be seeing that IS-3 again.
Okay, so we have got no IS-3, unfortunately, on the Meltdown side. This time, they're going to be going with that AMX 1390. For their Tier 8 tank, and B Gaming actually going to be taking those two Tier 9 Batchats, the Batchat 25T AP with a nice auto loader, of course a French Tier 9 medium tank, and I actually really like that T57 heavy pickup. Honestly, just looking at B Gaming's lineup, I'm going to be favouring them to take this one out. I just really love the T57 pick. They've got a bit of kind of grunt with the E100s. The AMX 50B can put out so much damage as well. So let's go with B Gaming on the defense this time. Even though obviously, like you said, they're a bit more of an attacking team from their first week stats. But for those that don't know as well, that T57 heavy, we haven't seen it picked too much recently. But the reason that we're seeing it picked a little bit more now is because of the HD armor rework. So when these tanks get an HD rework, some of them, they get their armor changed, armor values changed with the new models that they get, and the T57 essentially got a buff because of it. So it's a little bit harder to penetrate, and it's got those pretty great turret that American heavies are known for as well.
It is sort of an interesting pick here because it's sort of the only time we'll actually really see a T57 is on Ghost Town. So interested to see how it works out here. I mean, we've seen it a couple times, and it seems to have been working out.
Yeah, definitely. And, I mean, it's got 4 shots in the clip. Its clip can reload in, around about the 20-second mark. It can put out so much damage, it is insane. So that's why I really like it.
Oh, well, got SP, speaking of so much damage, has taken a huge amount of his HP already. Only on to 588 HP left. He's going to be reloading his clip as well, so he's going to be out of the fight here for the next 20 or 30 seconds. And
that's the danger when you're going up against, I think it was those E100s that can just kind of 3-shot something like a Batchat, effectively. You poke around the corner and you don't think there's E100s there, but then you take 750 damage from a shell. So very dangerous there for Got SP, but he will be reloading, and the gun's still on the field, Jordan. So as long as that is the case, then it can still wreak a bit of havoc.
Yeah, you're certainly right. I mean, you can definitely not count out a gun in the game, especially when it's an auto loader. So God SP perhaps is going to have something else to say in this round here. Looks like they're going to be sending Waffen forward with that 113, just trying to get a bit of a spot in towards the town. I don't know if he's seen that E100. Doesn't seem to be too keen to crest that ridge though.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. No, Waffen does have to be careful. So right now, Gaming just playing a very defensive setup. They've also got Taki and Utori down the bottom there in those, I think, 2 Tier 9 bat chats, and they're going to be essentially trying to pull the exact same maneuver on Meltdown that Meltdown pulled on them by getting these bat chats around to the kind of C0, D0 lines, around to the back of the Meltdown spawn to try and get the flank on as soon as Meltdown push on towards that one flag.
Yeah, speaking of pushing onto the one flag, Pang Pang has managed to get in there unscathed for the moment and is starting that countdown timer here. So Meltdown now forcing B Gaming's hand. And it's going to be B Gaming who will have to respond to this one. You can see immediately Taki and Utori, as expected, are going to be starting that rotate in those bat chats.
And Pang Pang in this object 416, it can deal quite a bit of damage as well. It's got a very nice gun on it with penetration easily enough with gold rounds to go through any of the tanks on B Gaming side. So I like this pickup from Meltdown as well. But yeah, just putting a little bit of pressure on. This is a standard one flag push. Soon Meltdown might be either trying to distract B Gaming in the city, it looks like, so that they can buy their cap object 416 a little bit more time to get that cap further.
Yeah, you're certainly right. I don't know how well that cap is going to turn out for them, though. Tiltil Matil, you can see, still sitting up there on the A line, should get a relatively easy reset if push comes to shove. So I think it's really going to come down to who gets the advantage in this fight in the town. You can see Waffen 4 has spotted out the T-57 Heavy, loses a shot, but doesn't manage to connect it or doesn't manage to penetrate. Regardless, the damage doesn't go over to B Gaming there, and Waffen is going to try and fall back here.
Yeah, and that's a good move as it's just taken about 300 damage. Automatic fire extinguisher, a good pickup there by Waffen, putting that one out as soon as it starts. But B Gaming, they're getting a little bit restless right here, Jordan, and they're feeling like they almost should be going in. I'm liking how Meltdown are playing this though, nice and cautious, not running headfirst into those E100s, but the E100s might take the fight to them.
Yeah, look, it seems like B Gaming are starting to get a bit of an advantage here. Tiltil Matil taking a fair bit of damage, and Kunkin as well, having not the greatest of times in that AMX 50B, but Meltdown for the moment still have a HP disadvantage. As I say that though, they are able to pick up that AMX 50B and they have now got the gun advantage here. The E100 is trying to move forward and get a bit of damage across, but really not doing a huge amount of work. The T57 here, T4 just firing off with that auto loader, and he is starting to get some damage across there. Got SP very low on HP. Dukion very low as well here. The B Gaming guys need to make sure they're focus firing these low tanks. The T57 is on the reload as well, so not really going to have much of an impact on this brawl here. It's the E100s versus the FV215Bs and that 113. Taki coming around from behind on the rotate. He's on the reload in the bat chat, and this is not a great moment here for the B Gaming guys, but the T57 get Heavy has managed to reload on. He's going to start to get a bit of damage across here. Having said that though, the 7mm, the E100 is going to be going down, and B Gaming, they seem like they're falling apart here.
Yeah, and the T57 Heavy going down there, that is a lot of damage off the field, but let's not forget Meltdown, they've got 3 members now, 1 shot from death, make that 2 as Taki takes out 1.
Yeah, Taki getting that reload off, finally has rejoined the battle, and what a difference it's made here for B Gaming. It certainly looks like he's turned the tables, and Pang Pang now finds himself alone there in the Object 416. It's going to be B Gaming picking up their defensive side here on Ghost Town, and really, I think it was just a case there for B Gaming of waiting for their reloads to come off and rejoining the battle, and they were able to pick that one up without too much difficulty in the end.
Whew, there we go. That was quite a close one, I feel, by B Gaming taking it out. But, you know, Meltdown, they gave it a good try. At the end of the day, I think we just missed a little bit of a flank potentially that was coming in. I think from some of the B Gaming bad chats, they essentially tried to pull the exact same thing off on Meltdown, like we saw on the first map. A little, you know, different tanks, of course, and a different route that they chose. They chose to go all the way around the bottom of the map, but overall, it was a good passage of play there from B Gaming, and really nice sort of defensive play when we saw those tanks kind of move in towards each other in the city, and the engagement wasn't started immediately by B Gaming. They just kind of waited for the right time and picked their battle essentially, and it worked out pretty well for them.
Certainly did. Look, it could have gone either way for a moment there. Certainly seemed like Meltdown were getting a bit of an advantage there, but as soon as those autoloaders came off reload, the T-57 Heavy was able to drop all of its damage. It went down very shortly after that, but it managed to get, I think, 2 or 3 clips off before going down, which is, of course, a great result there for the T-57 Heavy, and then, of course, Tacky coming in from behind with the Bat Chat really sealed the deal there for the guys on B Gaming.
Yeah, definitely. So one apiece right now. I think both Meltdown and B Gaming. It's not surprising that we're seeing a kind of 1-1 at the moment.
No, yeah.
On Ghost Town, it is quite an even, quite a symmetrical map. But I think now that we can take a look at this little battle in the city, you can kind of see that B Gaming's E100s here, they got surrounded, but they didn't really mind. And here, Meltdown took so much damage from this T-57 Heavy. Like, that was just an entire clip that T4 unloaded onto Meltdown before he dropped. And that's all he needed to do, just get the clip off, get an insane amount of damage off, just head back out.
Yeah, and even at this point, it didn't look all that great for B Gaming. I mean, they had a few tanks available, but as soon as that Bat Chat comes in, Tacky picks up that initial kill, and I think he closed out the second one for himself as well. So, what a turnaround coming out there for B Gaming.
Yeah, definitely. Very close match there on Ghost Town. And interesting that we didn't see any other kind of crazy picks. No artillery pieces, no IS-3s in that second match either. Even though an IS-3, I mean, we saw that it wasn't really a crazy pick in that first match. No. But I'm liking this kind of trend that we're seeing as well of picking these Object 416s. Obviously, it didn't work out perfectly for Meltdown that time with the Object 416, but I really feel as though having like a solid damage threat like the Object is really good to have for your artillery.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, it's, I guess, not too surprising we didn't see an artillery there coming out. I'm not a fan of it on Ghost Town, but here's our damage stats coming out from that matchup. The E100 doing the most damage.
E100, there you go. And well, that's the great thing about the E100. You only need to get a few shots off to deal the most damage in the game. And that T-57 Heavy, T4, he did his job. 2.8k damage with I think 3 reloads worth of shells fired on his autoloader. So you can see even the Object 416, it dealt more damage than 3 tier 10s. So that's why I do like seeing that one picked.
Yeah, I mean, I guess down the bottom of the scoreboard there for B Gaming, some worrying signs. Not necessarily worrying because they won, but you could see 7mm in that E100 was only able to get 1 shot off, even though it felt like he was in the fight for such a long time. So mustn't have been able to penetrate or anything like that. I don't know what was going on for him there, but...
Yeah, not too sure. But sometimes it does happen, like sometimes you'll head into a fight and just kind of maybe get a track on your first shot, something like that, and maybe a bit of RNG plays into that at some times as well, at some points as well. So it's something which is sort of expected. Yeah. Every now and then, as long as it's not a recurring theme there for 7mm.
And I think it's tough with the E100 as well because it takes such a long time to reload.
You need to make every shot count.
If you miss the shot or you don't penetrate, you get punished for it. Anyway, looks like we're going to be heading into our second map very shortly. It's going to be Muravanka.
Okay, Muravanka, and we've got another T-57 Heavy picked here by B Gaming. In fact, they are going pretty American right here. They've got the T110 E5 Heavy tank as well as the T49 Light tank. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see how they use those ones. And they've got 4 Bat Chats as well. So a little bit of mobility in the mix.
Yeah, a lot of mobility, I think, is probably safe to say there. I'd expect they're probably going to be going over onto the attacking side, but even if they're on the defensive side with that amount of mobility, Muravanka is certainly a map that you can utilize those faster tanks on.
Definitely an E5, a T110 E5, even a T57 Heavy on the defensive side is quite nice. You can just put it on the little hill overlooking the windmill, and it's got great lines of fire. Only shows its turret, which is exactly what you want in American heavy tanks. But here we go. We can see Muravanka there. There's the little windmill on the right. Both the flag caps. One right out in the open. One with a little bit more sort of kind of cover around it with a hill. And there's really 2 passages of play for Muravanka. We do see some teams, rushing through the forest. That is quite a common thing to do. Some teams as well just going for that slow windmill flag push. which I kind of prefer that a little bit. But
Yeah.
particularly when there's no artillery piece. We have seen in the past quite a few artillery pieces picked in Muravanka in
yeah.
previous WGL seasons. But not so much this season in APAC yet.
No, at least not in our region. I mean, I think we've seen it a couple times over in
Yeah.
the other regions, but not so much here. And I feel, I'm still not confident about the artillery play in general from the APAC region. It just doesn't seem to be quite as impactful as what we've seen from other regions.
No, I think you're right. When you look at Na'vi play artillery over in the CIS regions, and it's kind of scary to see how good those guys are and how many shots they manage to land with artillery pieces.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, like that's why you pick the artillery. Whereas we haven't quite seen any arties do quite so. I think we saw one good Lorraine shot yesterday from one of the guys on maybe
You're talking
Karen
about the one
Tiger.
on Mines?
Yeah, on Mines. I
Yeah,
think
I don't
might,
remember who it
might have
was.
been Karen
Yeah.
Tiger, but the one on Mines where he hit 3 members.
Yeah.
I think it was 3 heavy tanks,
Yeah.
and kind of tracked a couple of them. Did really well, but unfortunately still went on to lose.
Yeah, they went on and lost that
So-
round in the end anyway, so...
Yeah, unfortunate for the artillery fans out there, which I'll be honest, I kind of am one. Sorry, guys.
I'm not.
You drive light tanks.
I do drive light tanks. Light
No.
tanks and heavies, so really anything that's not artillery basically hates artillery, right? So...
Well, yeah,
I don't drive artillery, so
I
hate
only drive
artillery.
tank destroyers and artilleries. So it's like whenever I'm in my FV 215 B183, it's like even if it's like a nice, I don't know, a nice open-ended tank like an Object 263 out there as well, it's always going to be, the artillery is always going to be aiming on towards my 183,
Yep.
no matter what happens. So it's always pretty annoying, but
Alrighty.
I get to have my comeuppance when I play Artie as well. So there you go.
Looks like we're heading on to our map. Of course, Muravanka, we're here at 1 apiece between Meltdown and B Gaming. So, looking like it's going to be Meltdown on the attack first. And I think that's going to be good for them. They won their attacking side last week on Muravanka, lost the defensive side, so
Right.
maybe a little comfortable more so on that attack.
Yeah, so Meltdown on the attack. Bring that TVP T5051 into the game as well, which I do like on Muravanka. Great for little hit and runs from the forest, or just poking up and getting some damage from around the 1 flag. But B Gaming looking like they're setting up into a fairly standard defensive position. They've got Til Matil in that bat chat, just sitting in a little bit of a bush near that 2 flag to spot out any attackers that might be coming from the forest. Tacky backing him up in that other bat chat, so those guys can rotate pretty quickly if Meltdown decide to push that 1 flag.
This is sort of an interesting setup from Meltdown. I mean, they've got a couple of those heavies really far forward on the 1 cap. Dukian and Parthen, you can see just a bit more back towards that lighthouse, and then they've got a couple more over towards the forest. So really spread out here for the guys on Meltdown at the moment. They could get caught out.
And we can actually see Pang Pang there just firing a few blind shots. Blind shots trying to lure Tacky and Til Matil out of their little bushes that they are just kind of nestled up in. They've set up their tents, and they're going on a woodland camping adventure, I think, Jordan.
Well, that's one way of putting it.
Well, maybe it's not so much an adventure because they're just sitting in a bush. So, who knows?
Hey, whatever
but,
floats your boat.
obviously floats there, but they're doing it quite well. I don't think they've moved.
That would have made much more sense if we were playing World of Warships.
Maybe. Actually, that would have been great. But enough of that, because we have the base cap started off here by Valiant in that 113, and 102 seconds left. So the guys from B Gaming, they've got a lot of time to respond here. The rest of Meltdown isn't moving, so they're not committing to this yet by any means. They're just testing the waters, seeing how many members of B Gaming kind of poke out. So even if they can get eyes on this T110E5, which they now have done, you know, that's just a little bit of extra information that Meltdown can use.
I really like that position that SP has got himself in that Object 140. Really makes it tough for these guys on B Gaming to, I guess, go around that hill and even try and contest that cap pretty safely, because whenever they try and get around there, SP is going to be getting free shots onto them.
Yep. And GodSP just has to be careful that Utorian, that T49, doesn't poke out from behind the house and throw a big high explosive shell into his side, which it actually looks like he might be doing now. That T49, of course, the gun has such a high aim time on that one. Oh,
He shot it at Valiant, I think.
And I don't think it did a great deal.
Yeah, only 186, so definitely didn't penetrate that 113 there, but just putting a bit of doubt in the mind now of Valiant. I guess it reset the cap as well, so
Yep.
relieving a little bit of pressure there from B Gaming.
And Valiant just spamming there with that 113. So does not want to get another T49 shell that, well, might be going through him this time. So just staying on the edge of the cap as well. But so far it's interesting. Meltdown haven't moved Vice Tone, Pang Pang or Path End. They're tanks that are all around the forest. So they're still not committing towards this one flag. B Gaming have moved some of their light tanks a little bit away from the 2 flag. Taki and Tiltil Matil have both moved back towards their spawn. But now that B Gaming know that Meltdown aren't committing to this yet, looks like they might be sending Tiltil Matil right back towards that 2 flag to set up the tent again.
Yeah, for the moment, Meltdown, as you mentioned, just sticking to their position. So be interesting to see what they do from here on out. Waffen 4, you can see just slowly but surely making some movements forward on that hill, but really apart from that, Meltdown not making any committed moves. Now it seems like got SP Vice Tone, and I think that's Pang Pang actually, making their way through the forest here, so might be trying to get a bit of a flank on and speed up this game a little bit.
I don't really think this is going to work out too well for Meltdown, because they're going to be trying to get a flank on towards a couple of bat chats, which should in theory just be able to retreat as soon as they see them. So Tiltil Matil, he's the only one in a little bit of danger there. Does have to be kind of careful, because well, once a few bat chats are around you,
yeah, Pang Pang surely is going to spot him out here. He's going to proxy spot him. He's that close. And Tiltil Matil starting to take a few shots there into Pang Pang, but also receiving a few for himself. Pang Pang, though, getting absolutely decimated, losing over 1,000 hit points, and is forced to fall back. Didn't even manage to get a shot off there. Meanwhile, across the map, you can see Lod there in the bat chat, 25T, taking a bit of damage as well. So lots of trades going across, and at the moment, Meltdown just sitting a little bit better in terms of their HP.
Yeah, Meltdown looking pretty good right now. B Gaming with a few members low. But this fight is still controlled by B Gaming. They can choose to disengage whenever they want. They're on the other side of the hill, just going for these trades, emptying their bat chats clips, and now they'll be reloading.
Yeah, that T57 heavy, you can see, not going to be in the fight for the next few seconds or so. He's on the reload. Dukion in the FV215B, taking a shot, but really not a whole lot of damage. Might have been off that T49 again. On the side of B Gaming. Tiltil Matil has definitely fallen back way off that 2 cap. He's actually in not a bad position. He's got a great crossfire set up here between the rest of his team and himself. So Meltdown needs to be careful that they don't allow Tiltil Matil to do heaps of damage with that bat chat. Of course, we know how much damage it can release in such a short space of time, given that it has that autoloader. Taki at the moment, though, is the one taking all of that damage, down by 12,000 or 1,290. And well, he's trying to get a bit of damage back.
This isn't looking good for B Gaming right now, Jordan. Meltdown, they're on every side of this one flag, and we've got Pang Pang Dukion for Meltdown up the top, the rest of them down below, Waffen 4 in the middle. So anytime Meltdown, they're going to be pulling the trigger soon, coming around B Gaming from all sides and clamping down.
Yeah, look, I think Meltdown are going to be quite content with the lead that they've got now, and it's really, at this point, going to be just cleaning up all of these very low HP tanks. T4 and that T57 heavy has really just been dropped down as well. So I was going to say he's the only one that had a bit of HP to work with, but that's gone.
Countdown's reloaded.
Yeah, well, that's not going to help him out too much. Got SP hitting a nice shot, and it does seem like Meltdown might not even lose a tank here. Only 2 remaining for B Gaming. It's T4 and Tiltil Matil, and T4 and the T57 heavy getting absolutely demolished. And Tiltil Matil just sitting up there, or down there rather, on the southwestern side of the map is going to have to, well, cut his losses, I suppose.
Oh no, and just getting absolutely destroyed by that bat chat there. So we'll be seeing guys from Meltdown take out their second game of the series.
Yeah, well, I mean, they look pretty good there. They're comfortable on their attacking side. That's 2 out of 2 so far that they've played on the attack that they've won throughout last week and this week. So heading over to the defensive side now, I think that's going to be a bit more of a challenge for them.
A little bit, yeah. I think that'll be interesting to see how Meltdown play it, because that was sort of a pretty standard play on the attacking side on Muravak. You know, they did an excellent flank with those tanks down through the forest with a couple of them. It didn't actually look like it was going to work out at the start because obviously I think it was Pang Pang in that bat chat that took so much damage early on. It was about 1.1k damage that they didn't really get back, but they just kind of waited a little bit, went back again, and were able to kind of enclose all around B Gaming. They were winning those trades against those B Gaming tanks on the hill. Or I think really B Gaming should have played that one a little bit more passively and just let their, maybe let their T57, let their T110E5 handle those trades a little bit more. And they were going in with bat chats, which didn't really work because when you're up on the hill on Muravanka, right, in a bat chat, trying to get some shots down, then everyone in the forest, at the edge of the forest, is going to be able to shoot you. Everyone on the other hill near the windmill is going to be able to shoot you, and you're just not going to win out those trades.
Yeah, it certainly didn't look too good for them. They seemed a little bit lost there on their defensive side as well. So moving over to their attacking side, I'm sure they're going to be a little bit more comfortable. But let's have a look and see how things went wrong here for B Gaming. And you can see here they're just losing so many trades. They're getting shots across, but either not penetrating or not hitting, and it's not working out for them.
Yeah, Tacky there, we just saw it. He went right up onto the top of the hill and boom, just like that, 1200 damage in the bat chat, and he couldn't even fire off the rest of his clip, so that's a lot less damage, and by that time B Gaming, they were all so low they couldn't really commit to another engagement.
It did seem like it was, in the balance, and then all of a sudden it was just very heavily weighted in the favour of Meltdown, so B Gaming just letting that one slip away a little bit. I mean, they were slowly but surely losing it, but once that sort of clicked there for Meltdown, that was that.
That was that indeed. So, well, we're going to be seeing. Actually, let's take a look, I think, Jordan, at the post-game stats, because we can see that TVP T5051, we've seen quite a few TVPs not do so well, but Parthen actually played that really, really well. Got 11 shots off, so that's about 3 reloads, 3, maybe 4 with some missed shots of the clip. So, did well. And that T49, unfortunately for B Gaming, did not get any penetrations. And when that happens in your T49, I mean, that can mean the difference between dealing, 2,000, 2,500 damage, or like we're seeing there, 400.
Yeah, look, it's hard to, I guess, expect anything much more there from the T49. I know there was a few bat chats on the side of Meltdown, but... You
know what would have been awesome? If they actually placed the T49. That was actually a little bit strange thinking about it. So maybe they should have placed the T49 in the place where I think it was... Til Matil was down the bottom, looking over the 2 flag, if you will. Just maybe with a camo net, something like that, and just waiting for those bat chats to push into them, because it does often happen. It's a common play on Muravanka to see those bat chats push out from the forest.
Yeah, you're right.
So maybe that would have worked better.
I agree. I think the bat chat probably would have had a bit more of an impact over towards that 1 cap as well, as opposed to down there on the 2 cap. But we are going to be heading into our 4th round of today, and not going to be seeing another T49. A very big bat chat stack coming out though for B Gaming.
A massive bat chat stack there. They've got 4 bat chat 25Ts and 2 of the new tier 9 bat chat 25T APs in their lineup, and as well as that, the 113, of course. Can't go wrong with that Chinese tier 10 heavy that plays quite a bit like a medium anyway. So B Gaming, they're ready to rush anywhere.
They certainly are. So, well, we'll have to see what they decide to do, because they could go for something pretty aggressive here. Once all of those bat chats are off the reload, they're going to be looking to take a brawl, and well, they'll be really, in most cases, out damaging their opponents just because they have all of those autoloaders. Yeah,
I think taking a look at that sort of a lineup there, we saw that the guys from Meltdown, they had a few less or quite a few less autoloaders in their lineups. They've got the FV215Bs, they've got the Object 140s as well. So I feel as though it's going to be a lot easier for B Gaming to dictate the flow of the battle. B Gaming are just going to want to go in, hit, run, reload, go right back in afterwards and finish them off.
Oh, well, we'll see whether or not you're right, because we are going to be getting into the game here. It is 2-1 in the favour of Meltdown, but now they're on the defensive side, and B Gaming looking to attack them with all of those bat chats.
There we go. So I'm liking this setup here by Pang Pang in that RU251, and just going to be sitting in the bush there. Interesting that he's actually gone for the... for not the telescope in his equipment there. No binocs, so be a bit of an offensive RU251. So P Gaming though, not actually going anywhere just yet, with the majority of their team, Utori though, and one other member are going to be getting on towards the cap. So putting it a little, oh no, they're actually not quite getting on towards the cap yet, but maybe putting a little bit of early damage pressure on towards Valiant.
Yeah, 7mm certainly sitting quite close to that town, which is a bit of a risky spot. And look at this Meltdown. They want to take things into their own hands. They're completely rushing Utori. He's been caught off guard. Really, the only backup that he's got here is 7mm in that 113. No. This is great stuff coming out here from Meltdown. They're going to get that first kill. And now the focus fire is going to be changed over there onto 7mm in that 113. Look at all those traces heading in towards him. He is not going to be lasting much longer. And right out of the blocks, Meltdown getting a massive advantage. They're going to take out 2 tanks. They've got a huge HP advantage as well. And, well, that was great stuff from Meltdown.
Oh, yeah, mispositioning there from B Gaming. Look, they've got the most mobile tanks, but they've been caught essentially standing still. Meltdown going to be punishing them excellently for this. And now that B Gaming are kind of letting their shells go, like, Meltdown aren't going to be dropping.
Yeah, Taki's in real trouble. He's got 3 guys from Meltdown chasing him. Pang Pang, you can see, just chasing Lod as well. So at the moment, B Gaming on a full retreat, and Meltdown not too keen to let them get away without giving them a little bit of an extra love tap.
Yeah, got SP there in that object 140. Going to be trying to get a few shots in towards that forest there, but Pang Pang in the RU251 doing work as well. I love it. Right now, B Gaming, that's actually only 1,500 HP the difference here, Jordan. So it could be, I mean, quite a few members on Meltdown are very, very low. This is going to take a bit of a kind of mammoth effort from B Gaming to come back from this, but, you know, we've seen stranger things, so yeah, I mean, rule them out just yet.
You're right about the HP difference being not that much. I mean, Meltdown have only got 1,500 more, but it's really, I think, the guns in the game that are going to tell the story of this one. B Gaming, even if they take a brawl here, they're not going to be able to win it because they're just going to be out-damaged by those 3 extra tanks that Meltdown have got on the field.
Well, potentially, but just taking a look at where Meltdown is kind of set up at the moment, Parthen, and also I think that is going to be Dukion.
Yeah.
They're kind of a little bit spread out. Vicetone right here, he's actually spread out.
Wrecked.
Oh, no.
Absolutely wrecked.
Okay. Yep, that's not going to work out, so... There was the option, and they do get 1 kill in return.
They get the trade, but a trade in that situation when you're down by 3 players is definitely not what you want.
It still a little bit better
leaves the favour there in the side of Meltdown, who are, for the moment, just content to play relatively safe towards their cap. You can start to see them moving forward here. B Gaming making a move of their own. Just collecting themselves in the forest here before they figure out what they want to do with this. But I feel like almost Meltdown really, if they lose this one, it's going to have to be the biggest throw.
Yep. So, Meltdown going to be playing this one pretty cautiously, all moving towards the forest as a team. That's exactly what they need to do. And they're just going to be doing a ground search for the members of B Gaming, wading through the forest here. Pang Pang in that RU251, full HP there, which is only 1,200. It's going to be finally getting a few spots on towards the members of B Gaming, and there's just not much they could do at the moment. There's a wolf pack chasing.
Meltdown can't rush into this without being careful. I mean, they can very quickly lose a few tanks to those autoloaders. T4 going forward, gets that 1 kill, but I don't know if he's going to have enough backup here. Valiant taking a lot of damage as well. Meltdown are starting to lose a lot of HP, but as soon as these reloads come off here for B Gaming, they're going to be falling apart. You can see 2 kills go in the favour of B Gaming, but immediately responded there by Meltdown, and Kian Power on his own.
It was a good try. Good try there by B Gaming. It gave it a good crack, but at the end of the day, Meltdown taking their 3rd game in the series.
3-1 up, and they pick up both rounds there on Muravanka, so putting themselves in good stead here. Obviously, our next map is going to be Prokhorovka, heading over to that one. So be interesting to see how they go about on that one, because that's another one of those open maps that maybe Meltdown a little bit more comfortable on.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I think, well, if Meltdown are more comfortable on Prokhorovka as well, then that's going to make B Gaming's life a little bit harder. Because 3 down, if Meltdown win 1 more map, then of course they will take out the series, both sides, of course. So, Yeah, that is going to be tricky. But I think B Gaming should be able to maybe pull it back together a little bit after that. They got caught out early on there. You know, it was just a few simple mistakes where I think it was those 2 bat chats, or the 1 bat chat
and the 113
and the
were really far
113.
forward.
That's it.
Yeah.
That just caught out early on, turned it into essentially a 7v5.
Yeah, well, let's see how that went down, because that certainly was a bit of a crucial point in the matchup there, at least for me. Like, as soon as those guys on Meltdown recognized that those 2 tanks were very far forward, they just charged straight in there. And look at this. This is it just. There's nothing you can do about this, right?
No, nothing at all. And yeah, Utori just went down before he could get the clip off. 7mm in the 113. Barely had an impact. I think might have penetrated 2 shells before he went down as well. And you know, some of the B Gaming guys that came in to help, you know, found themselves caught a little bit out of position as well, and got a little bit of damage applied to them. Kyung power there, you know, getting dropped down to 908 HP. So really, B Gaming, after that one, they won't be too happy, but it was, at least they'll be able to kind of pinpoint that and say, okay, we lost because we put these 2 tanks out of position. You know, we can still move on. We can move on with our lives and start afresh in Prokhorovka. Our next map.
Prokhorovka is going to be an interesting one here between these 2 teams. It does seem like a bit of a defensive-sided map, at least here in APAC throughout the first week. Just from looking at the statistics, something like a 75% win rate on the defensive side, only 25% obviously on the attacking side. So I wouldn't be surprised to see this one go 1-1 and B Gaming able to pick up their defensive side as well. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. Obviously getting a little bit ahead of ourselves, we'll have a look and see how those tanks matched up in our last one here on Moravanka.
There we go. So up the top was Valiant in that 113 with 3k damage, and taking a look down the list there, we can see Kyung Power did pretty well. The bat chats all did pretty well. You know, nothing too surprising there, apart from the fact that that tier 9 bat chat actually got 3rd top damage for B Gaming, 2.5k. So Till Matil really doing work there, and you know, nothing too surprising at the bottom, apart from Lod in his bat chat. 5 shots fired, but only 338 damage.
Yeah, so some interesting stuff coming out there. Meltdown definitely looked superior on Moravanka there, so I'm excited to see how they take on Prokhorovka here, because that's going to be an important one here coming out for B Gaming. I mean,
I want
both
to see
these...
some Arties.
Smarties, huh?
Smarties.
Haven't seen it so far today. I don't think we saw any yesterday. No, we saw one yesterday, didn't we?
We did see
that
the
was on mines.
Yep, on mines. But
across the board in APAC, we haven't really seen a whole lot of artillery usage at all. And I know we spoke about this a little bit earlier, where we both didn't feel like it was necessarily being all that impactful. So I would be hesitant probably to pick up an artillery here, even though it does lend itself to a map like that on Prokhorovka.
Well, I guess we'll find out soon enough. So we can see here that we will not be seeing any artillery pieces. We've got the Gorilla, so something a little bit different there. B Gaming going with that German tier 10 tank destroyer, and you know, technically Germany has some artilleries with the same chassis, so you can call it close.
This is a reasonably similar lineup from B Gaming, I think, than what we saw yesterday from Team Efficiency on Prokhorovka on their attacking side, where they got that IS-7 into that cap on the western side of the map, or the western cap more so than the eastern cap. And then they had the Grill 15 up far on the hill, providing a bit of backup there, and that certainly worked out well for Team Efficiency. So assuming B Gaming's on the attacking side here, I wouldn't be surprised to see them head towards that western cap.
Yeah. No, we could see that. I think, you know, in Prokhorovka, it always depends. We might see them head there. We might see them do maybe a hill push from the looks of things. We could see them head towards the town. Potentially, there's lots of options here on Prokhorovka. It's such an open map. Lots of ways to push in. But we're going to find out, I think, Jordan. So, where these teams head out to. But there we go. The 2 flags, one on either side of the rail yard. Let's roll out.
Alrighty, it is going to be B Gaming on the attack. So, well, at least that part of the puzzle is correct for the moment.
Yeah, and you can see Meltdown all, well, looking to be all crossing the tracks already and setting up for either a hill push or a hill defense. And what we can see there, I remember we did get an excellent hill defense in week 1 last week, where one of the teams just completely surprised the other. I forget who it was between, but you were right as well. B Gaming currently setting up for a 1 to 2 line push down on the side of the map there. Just getting a few free spam shots in with that T62A.
This is almost a repeat of exactly what happened between Team Efficiency and I think it was Twist yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, where they had that guy up there in that sort of a AB6 area. That's Dukion. They had a guy there. He wasn't able to do anything about that one cap, and the rest of the team was more so towards the town there, or closer towards the 2 cap. And really, the guys on Team Efficiency, once they got onto that 1 cap, it was really tough for Meltdown to come back over the tracks and reset that timer. So wouldn't be entirely surprising to see that happen here for B Gaming, but I think at least the one takeaway here for Meltdown is this time, at least, they've got a bit more information as to what's going on. They've pushed down all the way to the southern part of the map in towards that JK line so that they know there's no one here coming over towards this eastern side of the map. They know exactly where B Gaming is, and they can get themselves into a little bit better of a position earlier on. You can see Waffen here is just a little bit more forward than those guys on Twist were yesterday up against Team Efficiency. So might have a little bit easier of a time on that reset.
Yeah, exactly. So right now we can see that Utori is actually going to be pushing himself on towards this cap right here and potentially looking to start that turn, get a little bit of pressure exerted on towards Meltdown. So by getting himself onto the cap, of course, he does start that base counter ticking down. And that means that in 109 seconds, sometime before then, Meltdown are going to have to send one of their tanks out to get one shot onto Utori. As long as he takes any damage, then that base cap is going to be resetting. And we can actually take a look down the bottom of the map because Meltdown, it's looking like they know what they want to respond to this with. And I'm liking this idea, Jordan. They're pushing all the way down the bottom with a nice flank for tanks.
Yeah, I certainly agree. 7mm has been spotted out, but Pang Pang, he's taking a huge amount of damage. That Batchat up there on the hill, Taki, is doing a lot of work. And it's the first kill in the favour there of B Gaming. But the push does not stop here for Meltdown. They're trying to continue forward, and this is what they need to do, at least. They need to stop that pressure on that cap, and it seems they've done that. Utori rotating off. Valiant, he's right in the middle of everyone from B Gaming, just charging straight in there. He doesn't care at all, and for some reason, no one is looking at him or even trying to shoot him. He has managed to get himself into, I guess, this little bit of a dip, and he's found himself in a bit of a better spot. Doesn't manage to do any damage over there to the RU-251. I think he missed that shot, and took a shot to his track for his troubles, but now you can start to see him moving up here, and, well, B Gaming definitely taking the fight to Meltdown here, and this is probably a good move because Meltdown finding themselves at a numbers disadvantage. It's a trade so far, and actually Meltdown getting the better of this for the moment. They get a 2-for-1. Parthen and Vice don't have to get out of here. They don't have much HP to work with. Parthen should be taken down here by the Batchats before he can get to safety, and he does, and so it's a 2-for-2 trade at the end of all that. Meltdown, though, still have the HP advantage, and now you could argue they've got the positional advantage as well.
Yeah, there we go. The issue for B Gaming, though, is that both of their Batchats are going to be reloading right now. That is a lot of damage off the field. 113, of course, he's going to be putting out lots of damage whenever, but we can see him getting dropped very, very low. V-Samo dropped down to 852 as Utori's doing a great job there, ricocheting that STB-1.
Yeah, he certainly is, and there is still an extra gun in the game here for B Gaming, so it's not all lost, but got SP, you feel probably should be able to take down Utori here. Maybe if he stops shooting into that turret, which we know is such a strong thing for the IS-7. In the end there, gets a bit of backup, and they are able to take down that IS-7, and now all eyes going to be turning over to these remaining B Gaming members, holding down towards the southern end of the map. Vicetone over towards the south there for Meltdown. We did see Kyungkan Power going down as well to Waffen 4, so we're back to a 3 versus 3, and Meltdown just have so much more HP to play with.
Yeah, Meltdown are looking brilliant right here, and B Gaming, they're all 1 to 2 shots away from death. Tiltil Matil on 726 HP, but this is going to be a mammoth task for B Gaming to come back from their disadvantage right now, and I mean, they are on the attack as well, so they can't just try and play for time, which is, you know, sometimes an option. 113 goes down right there. They didn't get much damage in response. It's not looking good.
Yeah, certainly isn't. And, well, it looked okay for B Gaming initially. I mean, they got the first pick there, and then sort of everything fell apart for them.
Yeah, there we go. And look, Tiltil Matil missing that next shot. That is essentially going to seal the deal for B Gaming. So Meltdown taking out another one, looking super strong on Prokhorovka there.
Yeah, they're up 4-1 now, so they move over to their defensive side, and all they need to do is, or their attacking side rather, and all they need to do is pick that one up. And they'll win the series 5-1, which would be a very crushing victory in their favour, actually.
But against B Gaming, a team that was kind of near the top of the ladder before this one, heading up towards the top at least. But I mean, B Gaming, they're definitely going to need to try and come back from that. I feel as though that flank, like initially, they got a really good shot off on towards Meltdown when they tried the flank, but it just didn't eventuate into anything.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what went wrong there for the guys on B Gaming. Maybe the replay will give us a bit better of an indication. But, I mean, it seemed like they made the right decisions. Probably here, I think they probably shouldn't have lost 2 tanks. Like, they had the tank advantage, so they should have, in theory, been able to win that battle a bit better. And they did go for 2 for 2, but having that gun advantage, you probably would expect that they should have been able to take that one out a little bit more convincingly.
Yeah, and after that, the issue sort of was that B Gaming, look, they had to reload their bat chat, so that was a lot of damage off the field, but they kept the fight sort of engaged, and I don't know how much experience B Gaming have fighting around that kind of G1, H1 and F1 area, but it's not often that we see fights around there. No. So there's not a great amount of cover, not a great amount of defensive positions. They're effectively out in the open once you get on the same level as those tanks. And we know that Prokhorovka, it has lots of kind of little, just small valleys in the middle of the map, right? And the little hill up to the side where B Gaming were just sitting there. So that meant, being on the kind of just slight little incline, that lots of those tanks from Meltdown could get good shots across onto them from far away. Yeah,
it was, it's sort of interesting to see how that one played out there for, obviously, Meltdown picking up the victory there. I dare say they'll be sitting on the top of our scoreboard here.
5k damage. Waffen in the FV 215B going absolutely monstrous right there. That is huge. And, I mean, look at that. Got SP in the STB1. Yeah. So not even the Tier 10, but getting ranked 3rd on the scoreboard. And, the STB, I was just having a spin around in mine earlier on. It's a very solid tank to take into a game like this. That Tier 9 Russian heavy, of course. So I think it tells the story. The IS-7 down the bottom there with 0 damage. Utori should have got more than 0 damage, honestly. I mean, yes, he was on the cap, and yes, that makes things a little bit trickier, but you want to be doing a bit more than that.
Yeah, especially in one of your Tier 10 tanks, of course. I mean, I think the strategy was good there from B Gaming, and they got into positions where they should have been able to win that battle. They got that guy on the cap. They were able to draw the guys from Meltdown over the tracks there. They had the initial kill, so everything.
They were ready for the flank, right? So yeah, exactly. And there wasn't really much more in terms of early positioning that they could have done to try and stop that. But there we go.
I mean, again, I'm a little bit at a loss as to what went wrong there for B Gaming. I mean, I guess that a lot of things did go wrong, but it just seemed like they were not the better side, but they definitely seemed like they were ready to fight that one well in the right positions. Anyway, digressing a little bit, we're going to head into our next round here, and this is match point for Meltdown.
Match point, exactly, and they're going to be taking some very speedy tanks in towards this one, and Meltdown going with all mediums in their lineup, essentially. So they've got lots of bat chats, 2 Object 140s, 2 113s, which is, of course, technically speaking, a heavy tank, but plays like a medium. And B Gaming as well, they're going to be going with the E5. I like the B Gaming lineup a little bit more this time. I like the E5 more than the IS-7 here on Prokhorovka, just because, I mean, it's sort of made to get hull down and poke over hills. It's got such strong frontal turret armor that's just so hard to go through, and just a little bit more versatile, I feel.
Alrighty, well, moving over to the attacking side here for Meltdown. I mean, we know Prokhorovka are a little bit more defensive-sided, but Meltdown in general a little bit more attacking-sided, so I think that's going to play in their favour even, despite the bias that the map might have. So we'll see how this goes for Meltdown. Looks like they're going to be going for a little bit of a different strategy to what we saw B Gaming doing. Moving over to the more western side, the eastern side of the map, sorry, rather than the western side.
Okay, so Meltdown right here. Going to be heading towards the town from the looks of things, and I like how they're actually heading here very early on. Sometimes we do see teams, I think we saw it last week, push right up towards the town, or like essentially do a way too late push up towards the town there. But Meltdown are kind of solidifying their positions very early on. B Gaming, I'm not too sure how many members 7mm spotted out in his AMX 1390, but I don't think it's enough. So right now the guys from Meltdown are completely ready to pull the trigger on the 2 flag cap, and in 35 seconds it's going to be capped if they stay on it. But they're not deciding to. They're actually going to be going for the kill.
Yeah, it certainly seems like they want to take things into their own hands. Pang Pang going very far forward, Vice Tone as well. They're just trying to get some blind shots into that hill as well. Haven't yet spotted out that 1397mm, who I dare say has spotted out a large portion of those Meltdown members. So they need to be careful with their positioning, because B Gaming can be well aware of what's going on here on the other side of the tracks. The T125 now, Utori going to be starting to peek over here. He takes a shot there from the 113. I think he might have gotten one as well into the Object 140 of Dukion. So not a bad trade for B Gaming there. And, well, it seems like Meltdown actually keen to push over the tracks. They've gone all the way north, and I'm not sure how well this is going to work out for them. They're taking so much damage as they get over those tracks, running into huge amounts of autoloaders. They're trying to get some damage back across over to B Gaming, but certainly seems like B Gaming at least getting the better of it in terms of the focus fire here. Got SP down very low, 840 HP left for him. Vicetone also not looking too healthy in that bat chat, and Valiant and Wuffen, they've picked over the tracks here as well. Valiant is looking very, very unhealthy at the moment, and both these two tanks coming off the reload. Utori, I don't think, managed to actually do damage with his shot, but certainly the 113 T4 was able to connect his, and B Gaming finding a couple of kills. It's a trade for the moment. Meltdown actually losing 3, now 4 tanks, and B Gaming surviving with only losing 4, so certainly seems like B Gaming have the advantage in this one, and a bit of a ram damage coming out there between the two teammates, Vicetone and Parthen, onto each other. Still, Tomato JP should go down here. Parthen is going to come off the reload first. Whether or not 7mm is going to have a say in this fight is going to remain to be seen. I don't think he can get up there and save his teammate just yet, but Tomato JP doing a good job of wasting time there for Parthen. In the meanwhile, Vicetone goes down, and T4 ramming into the guy there in the 113, Wuffen. This is all said and done here for Meltdown, interestingly enough.
There we go. So Meltdown will be going down after that, and B Gaming with an excellent defense. I think they're going to be happy with that, but really one of the key points I felt was that AMX 1390 was just left completely alone. So not only did he get all of those excellent spots off on the Meltdown side, but he actually probably, we'll see in the post-battle stats, but probably got a lot of damage off as well.
It will be really interesting to see those post-battle stats because of, how much damage he would have gotten off. And also, I think, what would be interesting to see on the post-battle stats, but we're not obviously going to see, is how much spotting damage or spotting assisted damage he was able to get, because I feel like he was just doing so much work sitting up there, even despite maybe not shooting most of the time.
Yeah, potentially. But I think overall, the AMX, the tank lineups really worked for the guys on B Gaming that time as well. That T110 E5 that they picked, that was able to just to poke over and not take too much damage. Whereas obviously that super light lineup from Meltdown, when they got into a brawl, that was always going to happen.
Yeah, and you can see here is where it really went wrong for Meltdown. They tried to push over those tracks, and well, it's not a great idea pushing into a massive stack of enemy tanks. Maybe they didn't have the intel that all of the guys from B Gaming were actually going to be so close there to the tracks. I don't think they had spotted them all out there, so maybe they were expecting them to be a little more towards the western side of the map.
Maybe. Who knows? But overall, look, B Gaming going to be happy with that, extending the series at least one more game. And Meltdown, I think, just taking a look here, we've got Mines next up. Yeah. So Mines is going to be a map that I really feel as though, the guys from B Gaming are going to be pretty confident on as well.
Yeah, look, I mean, we'll talk about that in just a second. First, though, let's have a look and see how that AMX 1390 went. Not on the top 7. But certainly T4 and Kyung Power doing a lot of damage there for their team.
Unfortunate to not see that AMX 1390 up the top there. But I reckon it's going to be 8th. No, I'm completely wrong. It's 12th. Okay.
832 damage in the 1390 is actually not that bad. Like, it can sometimes be difficult to get damage off because you have to really be at the back or the side of your opponent's tanks, and Well, he got 4 shots off. I'm assuming he connected all 4 to be able to get 832 damage. So, maybe not the most amount of damage, but certainly still something to speak about there for the 1390.
Yeah, not too bad, I think. But overall, look, that was a brawl that kind of erupted between a team which had more heavy tanks and kind of better brawling potential, and then the guys over on Meltdown, who really had a team full of bat chats, full of old Jeep 140s, full of light tanks, where everything could go through them. They were all spotted anyway, and that was sort of the end of it, really. As soon as they came over those tracks and kind of committed, it's so hard, honestly, on Prokhorovka, the first team that kind of goes over the tracks, particularly when you're in tanks like the bat chats, it never works out well.
Yeah.
You know, like poking your entire tank over the tracks when you've only got 1800 HP, 30 mils of armor, 50 mils of armor, whatever the bat chats have, not much.
Yeah.
You know, it's very, very tricky to actually do that and make it work when the enemy team's ready for you, which B Gaming were.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, in the end there, Prokhorovka was the 1-1 split, so we're sitting here at a 4-2 between Meltdown and B Gaming. Now heading over to Mines. I'm not sure how I feel about this one, actually, because we did see Meltdown play it last week against EL. They lost both, so their track record on it is not that great. But having said that, it was against EL Gaming.
Exactly. So
what can you say about that? Like, I mean, B Gaming, on the other hand, they've got a 100% win rate on Mines. They won both the attack and defensive side. But, when I think about how Meltdown played that one, they didn't actually seem to be that bad at Mines. Like, they got an advantage over EL. They just threw it away. They lost it to that boost, if you remember. EL Gaming were able to get that one off and swing things back in their favor on Mines. But we have got the tank lineups here, and a Conqueror gun carriage coming out for B Gaming. That is not something you see every day.
A Conqueror gun carriage. I am so excited to see that, honestly. Like, it is my favourite artillery in the game, to be perfectly honest. For those that don't know, it is the British Tier 10 artillery piece. It deals, I think, the equal most damage in the game, equal to the Tier 10 American artillery, or just about. It deals so much damage if you can manage to hit the shells, but...
Well, that's the trouble, isn't it? As far as I'm aware, it's not a very accurate tank.
No, accurate is not the word that you use to describe the Conqueror gun carriage, that is for sure. But, look, the issue is, when I'm looking at both of these lineups, is that Meltdown, honestly, if they see that, and if they don't do a rush, they're crazy. Because you like, when you're against a Conqueror gun carriage, it takes 45, maybe even 50 seconds to reload, depending on how you've got it set up and your crew skills. But, like, you don't want to let it get many shots.
You certainly don't want to be letting, I guess, the fate of the game come down to the dice roll that is the RNG of the artillery shots. So,
no.
Take things into your own hands. Anyway, I'm really excited to see how this Conqueror gun carriage actually works out for the guys on B Gaming, because I'm not sold on it, but I'm prepared to be proven wrong.
There we go. So we'll have to wait and see. But on the attack, I mean, maybe that'll... I don't know. We'll see if Meltdown decide to rush push, because I feel as though they really should. They should just go completely ham towards B Gaming early on, and these 113s, it's looking like they may even be doing that.
Yeah, it does seem that way. They are going to be slowing down as they try to come over the hill there, but taking a lot of damage without really dealing much in response. I mean, they are getting a bit of map control now heading in towards the B Gaming spawn area, but they are taking a lot of damage for it, and well, I'm not sure how well this is going to work out for them. Waffen, that was the Conqueror gun carriage, I think, taking him down by 773. Dukian, in the meanwhile, has taken a huge amount of damage. You can see Pang Pang as well has been dropped very low. This is not looking too good at all for Meltdown, but they can take advantage of this time where the gun carriage is reloading.
Yeah, they can. Look at this. Kyang Power in B Gaming. He's had to reload as well, so that's a lot of damage off the field, not having that TVP up there. Both of those 113s are so low as well. One more shot from the Ice 4. Can they get down the hill? I think they... No, not quite. Waffen 4 is going to be going down.
Yeah, the gun carriage will be coming off reload very shortly. Valiant or Vicetonen, I suppose, probably the priority targets here for that one. Dukian can be cleaned up by someone else, and indeed that should happen very shortly. T4, maybe not the one to get that, but in the end it is going to be Tacky. And, well, B Gaming, it's 4 versus 3, but you got to remember, that gun carriage, not so effective in fights like this where everyone's moving around and getting into those brawls. So almost you could argue it's something like a 3v3, but Valiant should be taken down here very shortly. The 113 of T4 able to connect that kill.
Yeah, there we go, and we can see Vicetone and Parthen, the only members left up there for Meltdown, but Vicetone's making it count.
There you go.
Another shot from the gun carriage, hits him, 714 damage. That's why I like to see.
That is exactly what we want to see here, but Vicetone's found himself in a really good position, getting a few shots onto Samo there in the IS-4. Has to fall back now. He's on the reload, and he's going to be chased down here by Taki, who gets that one shot off. Not sure if he's going to get another one, at least for the moment. We'll see whether or not he continues that chase. And, well, I feel like we're in a sort of a bit of a, I guess, the calm before the storm here. Gaming, of course, should be able to close this one out, but again, they can't rush into this willy-nilly. They need to be quite careful.
No, not at all, because, I mean, you know how fast two bat chats can take down one bat chat. So if one of the B Gaming bat chats gets caught out, then well, see you later. And B Gaming here, ooh, I think Vicetone just got spotted out a little bit. Vicetone's actually in a good position. It's going to be very hard for the Conqueror gun carriage to hit him when he's behind this house, or even generally behind the Mines Hill itself. Parthen, on the other hand, is only on 128 HP, needs to not get spotted out, because otherwise that Conqueror gun carriage, it's got a very wide gun arc. You know, it's like a huge gun arc compared to most of the other tier 10 artilleries, particularly things like the Russian artillery as well. So should be able to have almost both of these tanks in its gun arc, but now Vicetone is moving out and getting some nice shots.
Yeah, interesting that Taki opted not to actually take a shot there. I felt like he probably could have won a trade if he had have got the initial shot off, but in the end, Vicetone actually gets one off, and Taki doesn't respond.
Oh, I think Parthen is going to be trying to avenge his teammates there, and that might have been the artillery shell.
Yep.
Tomato JP, he is going to be in trouble.
Parthen knows he's completely safe now. I mean, there's always the struggle of when you're playing in the light tank, when you're trying to take down the artillery, that you could, of course, be, I guess, shotgunned. But this is going to be a really easy
Needs
kill.
2 shots, but yeah, it should be an easy
There's
kill.
no time here for Parthen, for Tomato JP. They must have known. They must have known.
The save comes in. That was a snipe. Honestly, there was a chance.
In an IS-4 as well. Like, that's not an easy shot to hit.
Exactly. So, the massive save coming in from Samo right there. I tell you what, Tomato JP is going to have a new favourite teammate after this match, I think, Jordan.
Yeah.
Oh, and now, well, the Conqueror GC has reloaded. Vicetone will be the next one in its sights. And tries.
That's not how you do the boosts.
Yeah, that's not sure what he tried. And sees Taki there as well, I think. So
yeah, I dare say they've seen each other, and well, I mean, that definitely plays into the favour of B Gaming here. Vicetone taking another shot there, and he's going to come around the corner. Samo is going to pop another shot into him. The gun carriage misses. Unfortunate, but it's not going to matter here for B Gaming. They are going to be able to pick this one up. The first one on Mines here going in their favour. And Meltdown, it's going to be 4 and 3, so now things start to get a little bit trying for those guys.
Very trying, actually, and I hate to say it, Jordan, but I think I might have called it if they go 5 and 3.
Well, you did.
You never know. You know what? I reckon if they pick the Conqueror gun carriage the next round, which they probably won't because they're on their defense. We don't often see artilleries on the defense there on Mines, but if they do, you know, I reckon they'll win it.
Okay. Interesting. Well, let's go ahead and, I guess, look back at that previous matchup there, see how that gun carriage was able to impact that one. I mean, look, at this point of the game, I think Meltdown kind of knew they were on the back foot.
Yeah, exactly. Very much on the back foot here, and that was Dukyon going down, and their push was just a little bit sloppy over the hill. You know, like the 113s went in first, and like the bat chats took a little bit of time to kind of come back to back them up, and by the time the bat chats got in there, you know, the 113s had been dropped to about half health or so, and well, that's exactly what happened there.
Yes, and this was the fateful moment for Parthen. He would have felt that he was pretty comfortable.
Yeah, he was like, oh yes, I'm going to get a free arty kill. And he even stopped, like, he slowed down a little bit there.
Yeah, I think he actually misplayed that. He could have gone around the rock a little bit more.
Yeah.
I mean, it was hard to say, you know, okay, I should go around this rock because there is an IS-4 up on the hill.
Yeah,
he wouldn't have known
that
the IS-4 was there, but Better safe than sorry, I suppose, is the way you would have to think about that, really.
Yeah, definitely. So I'll be interested to see how much damage that Conqueror managed to get out as well.
Yeah.
We saw the 2 shots, so definitely around about the 1500 mark.
Yeah, I think he might have got one
maybe
more off.
more,
Maybe
more.
a little bit more.
Yeah.
But I think, it's probably the best performance we've seen coming out from artillery so far. So, not on the top 7.
1600. But I mean, we even saw when the arty wasn't getting shots across. We saw like it was still in the players' minds, right? So when there was only two tanks left on the Meltdown lineup, one of the bat chats, like the bat chat knew that he had to stay behind the hill, stay in the town, behind the buildings to so as he couldn't get hit. And there we go. So the Conqueror GC did roughly get two shots off, maybe a little bit extra, maybe a bit of splash damage with the third, but I think it really worked.
Yeah, I certainly agree. I mean, it did seem interesting, though, why they picked the Conqueror gun carriage as opposed to the M4043.
Yeah, going for the tier 8 rather than the tier 10. Look, I think, I mean...
Like, do you really think an M4043 would have had any less of an impact in that situation than the gun carriage?
It definitely would have, because the issue with the M40, M43 versus the gun carriage, right, is that with the gun carriage, you've got the threat of it being able to, like, one shot a fair few of your tanks, all of your bat chats, all of your tier 8, just about anything, maybe apart from the 113s with the frontal hit. But it can one-shot everything with, like, a lot easier than an M40, M43 can. An M40, M43, if you get the perfect shot into a bat chat, yes, you've got the chance to one-hit it.
Right.
The Conqueror gun carriage, like, if you push over the hill with a bat chat, and your bat chat gets tracked twice, then see you later, bat chat.
Yeah.
Or even if the bat chat just runs into a shell.
Yeah.
And it's got such high splash damage as well on the gun carriage. Like, yes, it's super inaccurate and RNG, but when using those premium shells, the splash is just like insane.
Alrighty, well, that makes a little bit more sense now, but let's go ahead and I guess get into our next game here. It is going to be, of course, the second half of Mines. A mouse? Is that real? Is that really going to be a mouse?
Is that going to be a mouse?
I mean, that doesn't look like a mouse to me.
No, it doesn't look like a mouse to me either. It looks a little bit like another bat chat, unfortunately.
I would love to see a mouse.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I want to see a mouse as well, but I just somehow...
It is a mouse. I've been told it's a mouse.
We've just had confirmation it is a mouse. So B Gaming, they've got it in their logo,
what?
Jordan. They call themselves the Entertainment Tankers, and we are seeing why right now. They've just picked on Mines a Conqueror gun carriage. They're coming into the next one with a mouse.
Please don't be trolling me. It has to be a thing. I'd be so disappointed if we head into Mines and it's not a mouse. Actually, I'd be so disappointed.
Oh, please. I want to see this. I want to see them win it. I want to see. I don't care that I picked Meltdown to win this one. Right. I want to see B Gaming win it now because they've shown us the Conqueror, showing us the mouse.
Yeah.
Insane.
I just don't know how a mouse is going to work here on Mines.
Shh.
Quiet as a mouse? Quiet as a mouse?
Don't worry about it.
I'm worried. I am worried.
It's a mouse. Let's not worry about the fact that it's got a fairly bad gun and the armor doesn't really matter and it's really slow and there's a reason that these teams never ever pick it.
And they usually just pick the E100 instead.
So
yeah, I feel like we're back in the beta when all you used to see was like a mouse and an IS.
Oh, back in the day.
Well, I don't really because there's plenty of other tanks, but you know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense. Anyway, let's have a look and see. It is a mouse. It's a mouse.
It is actually a mouse. Oh my god, that's brilliant. And our observer having a bit of fun there as well, serving into it. But 7mm going to be driving that one. What is even happening here?
I really am interested to see what the thought process is behind the mouse. Like, there's no reason you just pick a mouse. You don't just pick a mouse. Like, you have to have something. You have to have some sort of strategy that the mouse is going to fit into. I'm just finding it difficult to figure out exactly what it's going to be.
Yeah, it's interesting. Because obviously the mouse, I mean, it's got that 128mm cannon on it with only 311 average pen. So maybe their logic was, well, okay, the guys from Meltdown are probably going to be picking a super light lineup, right?
Yep.
Which they have. So one of the mouse's issues, which is the low pan, relatively low pan on its main gun, it sort of doesn't really matter here, you know, because you've got the 113s, which a little bit tricky to get through sometimes, but the bat chats can go through like butter. 113's not the heaviest armoured heavy tank.
No.
So.
Oh, here's the boost.
Oh.
Well, that's how you do it.
Oh.
No, it's not. I was trying this earlier on because we saw it yesterday and we saw it not working out too well for whoever was doing it. But I tried it and it's actually a lot harder than it looks.
It is very, very tricky. I've tried it a couple of times as well, and even some kind of lower tier light tanks, but the Bat Chat has issues as well, even though the Bat Chat, you know, only weighing 25 tons, as it is shown in its name. But so far at the moment, looking like Meltdown a little bit confused. Maybe they're just waiting for Parthen here to boost up the hill before they make any moves. Parthen's still not actually too keen. He might have spotted out Utori in the heavy. It's looking like he's looking towards him.
This is a long way away, though. I'd say if anyone spotted him out, it was going to be God SP, but even that I'd have difficulty believing. I think they're just blind firing it.
I think right now you can see 7mm. He's in a pretty good spot for the mouse. But just getting a few kind of free shots across there over towards Parthen. And Meltdown looks like they might be rotating a little bit. And Pang's just taking some shots, I think, from Taki all the way on the other side of the Lighthouse Island. So just a few early mistakes from the Meltdown guys. They aren't going to be wanting to repeat because they haven't really fired a shot, essentially.
Maybe the mouse dream is still real.
And maybe the mouse dream is still real. And Pang's used his two of his consumables as well.
This is a little interesting. Are they going to just push
Team
someone
boost?
up the boost?
Team boost, maybe? No.
Seems like it. I mean,
Well, they could just be doing a standard
for what
town
reason
push.
would they be going over to this side of the map, really?
I'm not too sure. But it's looking like they will be
just go through.
Okay, just doing the town push. You know, sometimes we do see teams hug the cliff when they make this town push, but they could have been worried about a proxy spot. So instead, they're just going to be going outside. And there we go. They're going to have to let rip on the mouse soon.
Yeah, they are. Well, the mouse is going to let rip on them because you can see initially 380 damage going over to God SP. He's being taken down by another 500 or so damage as well. Looking very low. The T57 Heavy is the object of focus here for the Meltdown crew. But the B-Gaming setup is looking good. They've got crossfires across the board. This mouse not really having much of an impact, but he is coming off the reload here. And as soon as they try and fall back, he's going to be behind them. The T57 Heavy is going to be eventually taken down here by Meltdown, but I feel like they took way too much damage in doing that. Dukian also getting punished here on his own. Just the wolf pack coming out from B-Gaming, they're destroying him. And all of a sudden, B-Gaming, I mean, they just absolutely decimated Meltdown here. What a turnaround from the first few maps that we saw coming out here.
Yeah, there we go. So 7mm in that mouse. He's still looking like that. It must be so fun to play the mouse in a game like this, where the guys from Meltdown just like are completely ignoring him for the most part. They're like, well, we're not trying to shoot a mouse, no way. And finally, Woffen, like, he gets a few shots off, and whereas normally that 113, you know, you'd see a good chunk of health disappear from a tank. On the mouse, no chance. But there we go. That 113 is going to be able to take out Parthen, but really, with only two tanks left, 700 and 500 HP respectively, like Meltdown, their push there just did not work at all.
No. Well, look, I'm still not sold on the mouse. Like, I'm not sure that the mouse necessarily did anything too spectacular there, and he could have put any other tank in that position, and arguably it would have even done better. Imagine having an AMX-50B sitting in that spot as Meltdown decided to charge up the flank there. So I don't know about that mouse.
I like it. I love it. It won, so...
It did. You're not wrong. Brings us to a 4-on-4, though, between these two teams, which means, of course, we will be heading over to our tiebreaker map, which, interestingly enough, we haven't seen a whole lot throughout our season so far.
I'm looking for... It's going to be a good one. We are going to be playing out our tiebreaker map on Cliff today. So Cliff, I think we've only seen one half of it so far, which is played by EL Gaming, and they won it pretty handedly then as well.
Yep.
So seeing it again today, I'm pretty excited. It's typically, you know, a bat chat central.
Of course,
on Cliff. We could be seeing something like maybe 5 tier 10 bat chats and maybe 2 of the tier 9 bat chats. Wouldn't be surprised. Maybe an RU and 6 normal bat chats, something like that. But overall, very fast map. You know,
Yeah.
lots about control of the hill.
Yep.
Some teams do decide to go to the west of the map and come up there around a little kind of mountain as well. So,
Alrighty, well, let's have a look and see how that mouse did in that last matchup because, yeah, I mean, it won, but I'm not sure about it still.
there we go. So we can see this is where Dukion just got caught out on the top of the hill. You know, I'm not even too sure what he was doing up there without his teammates anywhere near. So just got completely caught. The mouse 7mm was just there spotting out everyone. Parthen here just got taken out, I think. Oh no, he did actually take out Lod before he died, but that was a nice little shot there from T4 in the 113. But I feel as though maybe if Meltdown had actually pushed up that hill a little bit earlier, if Parthen had managed to get that boost working, that could have worked out a lot better.
Yeah, it certainly could have. I mean, it was, I guess, something that they kind of explored, but then really just left by the wayside. So, yeah, who knows how things would have turned out. Here you go. Have a look at the damage there.
Real 15.
Doing a lot of work.
I love it. Doing work indeed. Just about 4k damage with that tier 10 German tank destroyer. And the mouse, you cannot complain when a mouse gets 6th top damage on the scoreboard. Look at that.
Yeah, really, really, really interesting pick coming out there. I don't know.
Yeah, I can tell, John, you're not convinced. You're not convinced at that. No.
Like, I don't know if we're going to be seeing it next week. Let's be honest.
Please, I think we should.
If
The
at all.
T57 Heavy, though, got one clip off. And, you know, I like seeing the T57 on mines. It reminds me back in the day when we used to see the T69s, I think, on mines, if I recall correctly. Way back when.
Yeah.
You know, and it's sort of like a bigger version of that in a way.
Right.
And slower and heavier. But, you know, same sort of principle.
Anyway, I think that's enough about mines there. We have spoken about it to death and spoken about the mouse to death. Now let's set our sights upon Cliff. Obviously, it's a 4-4 here. Whichever team wins this one gets the 2 points. The loser gets only that 1 point. So, what are we going to be seeing on Cliff? I mean, it's not a map that we see a lot. All the teams definitely not keen to play it at all. Everyone seems to be vetoing it away, getting rid of it, banning it out. So it's kind of hard to figure out what exactly we might see coming out from these teams.
Yeah, look, on Cliff, we're probably going to be seeing two super light lineups. Very rare to see many heavy tanks at all on Cliff. You know, I think it's going to be bat chats, maybe some Object 140s, maybe even a TVP thrown in here or there.
Yep.
We could be seeing a T49 potentially as a kind of, you know, thrown in light tank pick for their tier 8 light tank.
It wouldn't be a bad pick, would it? Because
no,
the fact that most people are going to be picking those bat chats or the mediums
exactly.
and
It means that the T49's big derp cannon can really get through that thin armour of the bat chats quite easily. And we have seen it work out quite well before. But, you know, that's the question, whether teams want to go for that. It's more of a high-risk, high-reward strategy because obviously the T49 and its gun has a much higher aim time, a much higher reload time, and you know, less accuracy in general than something like an RU251, which we are used to seeing, something like an AMX 1390, whereas you know, you're always going to get at least a couple of shots off an AMX 1390 in general. But if you go for it, then you get paid off pretty well if you get some nice T49 shots. Yeah,
so we would expect probably a lot of hill control trying to come out here from these two teams.
Definitely. Yeah, lots of hill control. Potentially we could see the defensive team here on mines actually push up their first little hill just directly if they're going fast enough tanks. I know that's quite a popular strategy rather than, you know, taking the slow route, which is going all the way up the kind of ramp, if you will. So it's all about speed here on Cliff, generally speaking.
Yeah, so essentially, really, whoever gets the control of that cliff has a lot, or not cliff, the hill rather, has a lot more, I guess, control across the map. They get a lot more spotting out of that area, and of course, such an important part of the map. But looks like we are going to be getting into our match momentarily, and well, you called it.
Yep.
The bat chats galore, and of course the TVP as well, making an entrance. But really, that's just that.
Yeah, nothing surprising there, and the only sort of difference which we didn't see, which we haven't seen in previous seasons, is obviously those tier 9 bat chats, a recent addition to the game. So these teams just going full on bat chat, full on auto loader, and it can sometimes lead to some quite sort of quite funny situations if all of the bat chats get on reload at the same time, where it's just lots of tanks just driving around each other. Yeah, it's like not shooting. Like, hi guys, waving to each other, right, while their crew, you know, like reloads for 40 seconds.
Yeah, well, we'll have to wait and see whether or not that becomes an eventuality here on Cliff. But I'm looking forward to it. We haven't seen much Cliff, so just looking forward to seeing something new, I suppose. Yeah, definitely. Always good to see a bit of Cliff, in my opinion, and it's a very fun map to watch and a fun map to cast as well. So it should be a pretty good one, I think. But overall, my pick, I'm going to go with B Gaming. They seem to be a little bit more comfortable on the attack. Okay. Will be interesting to see which side actually does get the attack here, because we know, of course, the choice of side comes down to who finished their round on attack fastest. I don't remember who it might have been, but well, looks like it was Meltdown, so they're going to be on the attack, and B Gaming on the defense. Okay, so B Gaming on the defense right here. They're actually not using the boost, going to be going the sort of slow way, if you will. Meltdown probably going to be pushing up towards the hill on towards E4. And Matil actually has to be very, very careful right there, sitting in the town. I'm not too sure if he got spots off, but it looks like he himself probably wasn't spotted. Otherwise, Meltdown could have just gone for him. But we're going to be seeing the fight break out pretty soon as Valiant crests this hill. Yeah, he's been spotted out there by Kyung Power as well. Valiant in that tier 9 bat chat, I suppose, as opposed to the tier 10 one here of Kyung Power. So he doesn't want to take this 1v1 duel without some sort of significant advantage. He will just lose it. Oh, peeking around the corner a little bit too much. Not sure exactly what Valiant was just trying to do there. As he takes 698 damage for free there, and already Meltdown losing a fair amount of damage. Yeah, there we go. So Meltdown not looking too good to start things off, and I'm really liking Utori's position. Using this as sort of one of the newer boosts that we haven't seen too much previously on Cliff here. There are definitely quite a few new ones. We saw some of the guys from Karen Tiger mess up a few boosts last week when they played here on Cliff. But overall, we're not seeing actually a full-out brawl. A few skirmishes erupting, though. Yeah, there goes Path, and there Matil picking that one up. And as the fight starts to break out here for B Gaming, it's looking good for Meltdown at the moment, actually. They're doing a lot of damage despite having lost those 2 initial tanks. And starting to bring things back, but that's going to be another kill going in the favor of Meltdown. So, B Gaming dropping the ball a little bit. Maybe a few of their tanks were on reload. And I guess just to update you guys on the situation here, B Gaming was actually the ones to decide that they wanted to play on the defense. Right, there you go. So, B Gaming opting for the defense right here. And you can see that it's fairly even so far. Meltdown, oh no, getting dropped down further now. And that's going to be Utori taking down Waffen 4. And I'm kind of liking how Meltdown are sticking together a little bit, because obviously it's a 4v4 at the moment. It's very even. Yeah, it's pretty even. We've got Lod reloading for B Gaming, and that's going to be quite a bit of damage off the field, having that tier 9 bat chat down. And both teams actually with the exact same tanks alive. Yeah, Meltdown starting to bring things back in their favour, doing a lot of damage over to B Gaming. Of course, the tank lineups at the moment exactly the same. 3 bat chats and that bat chat 25T AP on both sides. Meltdown, for the moment, have the HP advantage, despite B Gaming at the initial stages, I guess, of this 4v4 having that early HP advantage. Yeah, there we go. So this is going to be very, very tricky for Meltdown to try and play out. I like the fact that they've moved Pang right up the top of that hill there. So with any luck, he might actually, there we go, be able to shoot down on towards Utori. So he can, and that's going to make it so hard for Utori to move around here. And he's just getting punished. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what the thought process is here for B Gaming. They've really split up, and Meltdown definitely taking advantage of that. 3 times now, they've actually managed to catch off a single member of B Gaming and take them down by a lot of HP. They haven't been able to close out the kill, but they have been able to get the damage across that they need, and now Meltdown sitting very comfortably in this matchup. Yeah, Meltdown, they've got 6 minutes and 10 seconds left just about to actually win it out. So quite a bit of time. All of their tanks still alive. We can see that Pang just about reloaded, and as soon as he has reloaded, we'll be able to poke around the top of this hill, get some shots down on towards T4. Great thing about these bat chats, of course, is a nice high spotting range, particularly when we can see those coated optics in them as well.
So Pang should be able to get some shots down towards T4. I don't think he's really in much danger of getting shot by the other B Gaming members either. But a little bit of a kind of reset happening here. Both teams potentially just taking a moment to think about their strategy, particularly Meltdown on the attack. Not too keen to rush into any pushes just yet, because there is still a lot of damage left on the field for B Gaming.
Yeah, Utori just on the reload there. That should be coming off momentarily, or already has come off. And Meltdown, as you mentioned, they need to be the ones to really think about what's going on here, because B Gaming, they're content to just sit and wait down this timer. If this runs out, B Gaming are going to win. Obviously, Meltdown now slowly but surely starting to make their move. Vicetone over on towards that one cap on a bit of a flank. The rest of the Meltdown members more together, I suppose. But at the moment, everyone playing relatively safely. No one looking like they want to go for any sort of aggressive scout. And I guess the issue here for Meltdown is that if they do get spotted out first and they do lose that initial tank, it's going to be such a big advantage here for B Gaming. So no one wants to make that first mistake. It seems like Utori's been spotted out there by Vicetone. Takes a little bit of damage and hides behind the rock once again in such a dangerous position, though. He needs to get some help from any of his teammates here on B Gaming, but doesn't seem like that's going to happen. Vicetone with another good shot. That's some really, really great work from him. Not an easy shot to hit. And now the advantage very heavily weighted in the favor of Meltdown. You can see they're very well aware of that as well, and they're starting to make their move.
There we go. So Meltdown are going to be pulling the trigger right now, just feeling out for where the other three members of B Gaming are. They've got a pretty good idea. Vicetone's just found T4.
Yep, T4 being shot at by a multitude of tanks here from Meltdown. I think 3 or 4 of them were aimed in towards him, and really that's going to pay dividends here for Meltdown. They pick up the second tank here of that 4 versus 4 battle. Tomato JP very low on HP, but Dukion has been caught out by 2 members of B Gaming. Lod taking a huge amount of damage for being able to pick up that kill. Not sure how this is going to work out for B Gaming, but I suspect it's not going to be too good at all. Lod down by 1,300. He is going to be taken down in the end there, and Meltdown have got themselves only 1 tank to find to be able to pick this one up. 5 and 4.
Yeah, this is going to be a Meltdown win. I think 5 and 4. Tomato JP, there's just nothing that he can do. Only 4 shells left in that auto loader, and well, it's a fair amount of damage with 3 tanks left on the on the Meltdown side. There was just nothing he could do there. So very well played to Meltdown to take that one out and take out the tiebreaker win in the series. They're going to be pretty happy about that. It was a super long, super well forward series by both the teams there, and honestly some really good tanking.
Yeah, look, I mean, we said before the match started that we thought it was going to be a close match, and it did turn out to be a very close match. 5 and 4, a lot of those rounds going right down to the wire as well. So 2 very evenly matched teams, and well, Meltdown coming away with a victory there. I think B Gaming, you know, they might be disappointed, but I think they did well to actually come back into that one, because they were down 3 and 1, if you remember. So to bring it back to a tiebreaker is not an easy task.
No, exactly. And the good thing about that, of course, is that B Gaming, even though they lost the tiebreaker, they still get at least 1 point. So just a little buffer to their standings.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the replays here from that one. Utori up there on that boost spot. It's a nice spot, I suppose, but it didn't seem like it worked out very well for B Gaming.
No, it kind of, he got a few good shots off, and then kind of the novelty wore off a little bit. And look, we saw here that Meltdown actually lost the first tank. They lost Valiant right after that, but you know, B Gaming, they were down some shells, and Meltdown just pulled the trigger.
They certainly did. Meltdown really played that one to perfection. I mean, in that 4 versus 4, it really could have gone either way, especially considering B Gaming, you can see, at this point, have a massive HP advantage, 1,400.
Yep.
And somehow they managed to throw it away.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing when we see, like, bat chats, and this was Vicetone's excellent shot, by the way. Take a look at the accuracy on this one. But, like, when we see bat chats, like, it's so easy to underestimate the amount of damage that bat chats can put out in a short period of time, particularly when you're talking about 4 bat chats. So it's like, oh yeah, they've only got 4 tanks left. Well, 4 bat chats, like, they can take out 2 tanks so quickly with those full clips. So like, 1 mistake is all it takes, and I think that's why some of these teams don't really like playing Cliff so much. Is because 1 mistake means so much. Yeah,
it certainly does, and I mean, well, it'll be interesting to see what happens here in the statistics, of course, from that battle, because everyone was playing the same tank. So it's Looking like Vicetone, the king of the bat chats at the moment.
Vicetone is the king of the bat chats. So with 4.2 thousand damage dealt, pretty impressive number. And surprise, surprise, 2 to 7, we've got lots more bat chats.
Yeah, well, really not too much of a surprise at all, as you mentioned. And
TVP only did 990 damage, which is a little bit disappointing, actually.
Yeah.
To be honest, I thought coming into this season that the TVP would have been having a lot more of an impact than it's currently had.
I do remember talking about this before the season started with you.
Yeah, but so far I've been fairly underwhelmed with most TVP players. I think EL Gaming's used it well because they're EL Gaming, let's be honest.
Yeah.
But really, no other kind of standout performances that we've seen so far.
Yeah, look, I mean, it's been picked a fair bit. I don't think it's ever necessarily been the key tank in anyone's lineup, though.
No, I think we saw one game last week where there was a TVP that got 2 kills on mines, and about 3k damage or so. That was the best one, but nothing else apart from that.
Alrighty, guys, that's going to be it for us for that first matchup. Of course, we do have 3 more coming up later today, so don't go anywhere. We are going to go to a quick break, but in 10 minutes or so, we'll be back with our next matchup.